So, for those who want to know what advisory is in school, prepare to be enlightened. So, every school, or most schools in America, have a guidance office, or guidance counselors. Guidance counselors are kind of like therapists at a school. But they also have an administrative role. And their biggest thing is focusing on mental health and everything that goes around mental health. Well, what they did in my high school, is in my sophomore year, they decided to hold a class once a week known as advisory. And alphabetically, based off of your last name, you were assigned to a teacher with a class within that last name. So because my last name was in the P, they put me with a teacher that was named with the last name of O. And my advisory teacher was a German teacher, but this German teacher was a train wreck, because in advisory they want to get you to be social in the class. It's basically, rehabilitation, that kind of stuff, getting you social, kind of putting you in like a class group where, you talk about specific things and things like that. It can be about various topics. It could be about anything. It could be about career. It could be about specific things. Anything, really. It could be about educational programs, things like that. Well, my advisor teacher was a train wreck because she would come in with a half-butt attitude at the class. She would come and be like, "Welcome to advisory." And when the students in the class, when the students wouldn't listen, she basically would be like, "Okay, well, since you guys aren't wanting to do this, we're just not going to talk about anything or do anything." So she would just go back to her desk and sit on her computer or whatever. Well, one day in class, I think it was like the very first time, she's like, "Oh, well, me and my boyfriend are fighting." I'm like, okay. And yeah, that pretty much was her attitude, And I don't know if she was just generally in a bad place, or if she just took too many Advil PMs at night, or who knows what it is. But all I know is that she was a train wreck. She just wasn't, she just couldn't, teach the class. And I don't know how she was as a German teacher. But she was overall very friendly. But when it came to controlling the class, it's like, as a teacher, you're supposed to control the class. If they're not listening to you, then you need to get them to listen to you. Take away their cell phones. Do what you need to do. Call in the principal. Write them up. So you can't say, "Oh, well, the class doesn't want to listen, so we're not going to do the activity." No, you get control of that class. That's something I've seen teachers throughout my years of being in school, is that they struggle to keep the class in order, and they rather let the students misbehave rather than actually discipline them. They threaten to discipline them and write them up and all that, give them detentions, but they never do it. They let the administrators do it instead of actually following through with threat, and that's why they have a hard time controlling class. But I digress. So what ended up happening with that teacher is, at the end of the year, I had everybody to fill a survey. I gave my honest answers. I mean, she just kind of didn't really put in the most effort to do it. Well, then the next year, she had said that, oh, well, it was partially my fault for the why advisory wasn't good last year, partially you guys' fault for why advisory didn't be all good last year. Well, then that following year, she just didn't teach at that school anymore. I don't know if she was a teacher anymore or who knows what the case may be. But, yeah. She would just come in, welcome to advisory.